Welcome, everybody, to the next edition of the Stay on Course podcast. Today, I am so excited to welcome Travis Hahler. He is the Senior Director of Global Strategy and Transformation at Salesforce and the founder of Neurological Nomad. And soon, he is publishing Rethink Resistance, and it's hitting the shelves on June 23rd. And right now, he is busy working on large-scale transformation over at Salesforce. Welcome, Travis, to the Stay on Course podcast. So excited to have you here today.
Thanks, Julie. Excited to be here.
Amazing. And before we get started, I ask all of my guests, what is your favorite food?
I love a good pasta. Anything pasta is wonderful.
Anything pasta? Like what kind of sauce do you like on that?
Oh my gosh, all the sauces. Red sauces, vodka sauces, white sauces, all the sauces.
All the
I'm
sauce.
good with it. You
And
can't go wrong with me in pasta.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, today we're going to talk about being wired for change and talking through how to lead humans through the transformation in the age of AI. I think like there's so much going on, and I'm really excited to learn about your take on this, your hot take on it, Travis.
I'm excited to talk about it. It's the thing that, I feel like everyone is talking about, but no one's talking about how they're gonna do it. They're all like, we just got to do AI, and that's the current vibe that everyone's giving out, but it's not about how. And that's what I'm excited to talk about is like, how do we do it?
How do we do it? And like, how do we break down the barriers, the mental barriers? I think it's more that than anything. And
It is.
it's just amazing the way people are thinking about this now. So I'm excited to hear your take on it. So where do you want to start the conversation today?
Well, it's it's a great question. We could go so far into this because it's such a big topic. But, I think maybe we start with how companies are positioning it today and why that's not necessarily going to serve them in the long term in the way that they're kind of throwing AI into the mix.
Mm.
Um, because that's what I'm seeing right now is a lot of organizations saying things like here you go. We've given you access to all the tools. Go play with it. And it sounds really good as like we're giving you freedom, autonomy, like be innovative. But what is interesting about that is it really flies in the face of how people actually change and adopt and innovate. And Julie, I know we talked about this a little bit once before around the fact that it's it's like me walking up to you and saying, "Hey, Julie, can I have your bank account and your PIN number?" What, like your reaction in that moment is like, no, of course not. Like, what, are you crazy, right? But the reality of that moment is there's two things happening. It could be the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I could be like, oh, I just wanted to transfer you $1 million because I think you're amazing and you deserve it. Or it could be, I'm going to take all of that money for myself and leave you with nothing, right? That's what's happening with AI. We're going in and we're saying, here you go. And everyone's like, okay, I could either be using this tool to make my job the greatest I've ever had it, the best part of my career, launching me into a whole new stratosphere of work, and that's exciting. Or I could be figuring out that my job doesn't need to exist anymore with this thing. Like which one? And people's brains automatically go to the negative, right?
Right. Yeah, and the thing that I think is so interesting is that the people that are the innovators, they they don't need time to adopt this. They adopted it before it was a thing.
Yes.
So right now what we're faced up against are people that are the resistance.
It's so true. It's so true.
That's
And
it.
that's who we typically deal with in all transformation, right? There's always going to be your early adopter group, and they're kind of like, we don't need a whole lot of hand holding. We're good. Let us go play. But I think the stat that I see most often is that's like 2.5% is that like early adopter, we don't need help group. It's a small group, but
Ah, yeah, and
it's not great.
no, and the truth is like, and I can imagine in these big organizations that the rest of it is like painstaking because the innovators are always going to innovate. The early adopters are always going to find their way. There's never going to be no way for them because they've already adopted and adapted early. Right. So now we have a workforce of people that are non adapters, that are the resistance, whatever you want to call it. But it's that point that we need to help people get to the moment of time where they're going to use it, but then say, hey, if you use this thing, it may take your job away. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
So, I mean, it's a great question, and I wish I had all of the answers. But a few things that I think about, and my background, Julie, is in the way that the brain works, in the way that humans operate, human behavior. And so I think about it from that lens. And in my experience, I've been at this for almost 2 decades. It's really around there are natural barriers to adoption that people run into. It's in our brain, it's in our neurology, it's the way that we're wired as people. And so when we think about something like AI and the barriers that activates, it's things like you just said, it's that uncertainty, it's that ambiguity. Like, what does this mean? When you say go play, like what's safe, what's not safe? When you say innovate, like do you want me to reinvent everything or do you just want me to like make my work better? And so what people need is clarity. And that's so important as we go through large scale transformation and change and the change that we're doing with AI. People need to understand what it is that you want them to do, not
Mm.
necessarily the outcome that you want, but just guiding them into when we say innovate, we want you to personally think about your day-to-day work. What could you use this for to make yourself more productive?
Yeah.
Or here are the 5 big problems we're trying to solve as a company. Let's hack it together with AI. Like, what could AI do to solve these problems? And so I think it's giving that clarity around this is actually what we mean when we say innovate. Let's do this together. Group is always better than individual, because, as you know, it's safer in numbers, right? When you're like, oh, everyone's doing this, we're going to do it together rather than Julie's doing it and uh-oh, is Julie gonna uncover something that is either gonna like take away my job or possibly like hurt her job? Yeah, so those are a couple things that I always think about is just how do we give clarity even when we want people to play? We want them to innovate.
Yeah. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to see the different kinds of behaviors within an organization and, the disparity between the two groups of the people that are the early adopters and the non-early adopters. But I think like if you're not going to get in the game, you're going to find yourself very fast completely out. So and that's the funniest part about this. Like when we talk about adopting the transformation, you're either going to adopt the transformation and start playing, or you're going to be completely obsolete in this workforce. And so, either way, you trying to hold on to your job is not going to help you save it. It's going to actually help you lose it. But, it's it's an interesting time. And I'm sure there's a lot of philosophical and leadership lessons and concepts that are coming to the forefront now more than ever before.
Oh, absolutely. I think your point is so right about this is our moment to kind of get on the bandwagon or you're not going to have a bandwagon to get on kind of moment. And I don't think that has to be. I think people think about it in extremes, right? They're like, "Oh my gosh, I got to use AI for everything." That's not what it is. It's really, do you have the skill set to leverage AI in those moments that need to use it? And are you prepared for a world that is going to lean on it more heavily than we do today? And so it's about building competence over time. You don't have to do it right now. The thing I hear from a lot of people in this moment is like, I'm so busy in my job, I don't have time to go and like do all the training that I need to feel competent to use AI as like a tool. What is it? 90% of people with AI right now are almost just chatting with it, not actually using it in its intended like way of working.
Hmm.
Um, and so I hear from a lot of people, they just don't have the time to go and do that learning and feel competent and feel like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think like my perspective is you don't have to solve everything. Like start with the basics. Like, do you understand what this thing does? Do
Yeah.
you understand how it works? Like
And
that's
and
so
it
important.
it's so important. It's so important to use it in the context of your business. So some of the things that I'm working on with my clients is I do one-on-one coaching with people. And so I show up as an executive coach, but really I'm like now an AI consultant, to be honest. I'm a coach,
Yeah.
consultant, trainer of AI to be it's so crazy. I should probably rebrand myself, but the truth is when I'm working with clients, I'm like, all right, show me what you need to do. We're going to use AI and we're going to use my tools that I have for me that I've created for businesses. And we're going to use what you have and we're going to merge the two together. And I'm going to help you exponentially grow in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so what I'm doing is I'm focused on their actual business task. So I think like what probably the best thing for big companies to do is to hire people like me and other people that are experts that can take people's job role and say, look, here's some of the things that you could be doing that you're not doing right now.
Hmm.
Because people don't know how to bring the ingredients together. Like it's almost like you're cooking again, like back to the cooking thing, back to the food thing. There's all these ingredients that you can put in, and you pull the ingredients from all these different places, and now you're creating a new dish that you didn't have before
You're making me an AI pasta, Julie,
with a really good red sauce.
with a really good red sauce. I love it. No, but you're so right. I think, what I'm seeing too is as managers, leaders, executives, our job is to challenge too. And that's what I'm finding even as I've evolved my role a little bit in not just, oh, I'm driving transformative changes across this company, but I'm also a leader of people. And my role is shifting where I'm not just reviewing like assets of, okay, this is how we typically go about, driving change. Here are the things we build, here are the deliverables. I'm not just looking at those. I'm really thinking critically and being like, do we need to do that? Or is there a better way to do it? And challenging my team to say, hey, you know what? I know we always do it this way, but it's kind of time consuming. How much of that could we outsource to AI? How much of that could we automate through AI that we don't have to do that anymore? And
Yeah.
so it's an interesting place to be as a leader right now too, because you're also adopting, but you're also having to challenge your team to say, where are the places that we can use it? What do you think? What could you do differently?
Yeah.
Um, that's an uncomfortable spot for leaders. We're not used to I think in this world used to thinking that way. We're used to thinking in systems, right? Where we're like,
Yeah.
we do this, these are the deliverables. I got to make sure that the quality's great and my team's getting the work done. Now you're like, oh, but I also have to challenge them and see what we could do differently and how we can reinvent that, in this age of AI. Um,
Yes. It's kind of like the difference between getting like a menu handed to you or being at a buffet.
it's so true.
I mean, it's like AI is the buffet, right? You could get whatever you want, however you want it. The guy's there making the omelet for you. You could have it your way. And so, like, talk about Burger King, talk about the buffet. I don't know why I'm so leaning into the food thing, but it's true. You have a buffet of options to try out.
Yeah.
But this is very good. There's very good points here. I think that we need to maybe continue this conversation in a part two. Let's think through that because there is so much more to unpack here. But tell us a little bit more about where our audience can find out more about you and your book.
Absolutely. So, well, great topic, great time for the book, Rethink Resistance. It's really about embracing neuroscience, our neurology, our biology to lead transformational change as leaders. And if you want to learn more, my website, travishahler.com, available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere that books are sold as well. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn too. I love to hear feedback. I love to hear how you're using the tools and chatting with leaders. That's part of the joys of my work.
I love it. I love it. Travis, so thank you so much for being a guest on the Stay on Course podcast.
Thank you so much, Julie. Great to be here.